But I'm like, that's not what I was saying. Oh my God. I didn't say it's your wifely duty. I said, yeah, we are married. So if that's something you want to do, that would totally be comfortable with me.
So I think the one side saying me, that's also part of showing compliance. That's also part of showing compliance. Like, have a lead and maybe
Hey y'all, it's your Captain for All Things Creative coming at you with the Married at First Sight Season 20, Episode 10, because this episode had a lot, so I'll just do 11 and 12 separately. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're returning, thank you so much for rocking with us. Now, let's go couple by couple because we have to address the Nikki and Shawn of it all since they had the most drama, and my intro kind of showed the biggest moment that caused contention between them in episode 10. So basically, what we have here is Nikki and Shawn acting in complete confusion, and I could not believe my eyes when the episode started with that night camp footage of Nikki straddling Shawn. And when I saw that, I actually started to believe Shawn that Nikki was indeed kissing him with food in her mouth and all kind of things that he was saying about, her showing him signs that she was attracted but denying it. It's almost like Nikki treats Shawn like a sneaky link. She's sneaking around with her husband. It's a little strange. But when I started to look at Shawn sideways, this episode was when he came out of that room in that towel after Nikki was fully clothed trying to get her coffee or whatever. And then he sat up there and begged that girl to help him relieve his sexual tension and basically told her that doing sexual acts with him was part of her showing up as a wife. Now, he did not literally or technically say it was her wifely duty, but she was correct in interpreting what he said with that phrase, because what Shawn was trying to do was convince her that they should do more sexually and deal with his need to have some kind of release of his tension when he himself has chose not to relieve himself, and she already told him that she doesn't want to have relations. So all of their arguments after that really made me realize again why I have mixed feelings about this season. The experts and the producers choosing to give these couples apartments with just one bedroom. In past seasons, in the shared apartment or the shared home, the couples had 2 bedrooms. So when couples weren't, feeling each other that much, they could sleep in separate bedrooms but still, share the home. But in this season, I've been seeing that it seems like there's only one bedroom because when the couples have the falling out, like especially Shawn and Nikki, Shawn had to sleep on the couch. So it does seem like there's one bedroom. And even when Devin and his spouse have that fight, it seems like it's one bedroom. So it does, I think, help the couples not run away when, they have that setup where, they either have to go all in on, the marriage by having to share a bed forcefully. But at the end of the day, it does create these situations where coercion and very difficult situations surrounding sex can happen when people aren't on the same page about how to, express intimacy. So I definitely feel like the one bedroom thing is part of the reason why the couples this season, including Shawn and Nikki, are having more fights and more confusion surrounding sexuality, because Nikki and Shawn are on top of each other all the time, and sometimes Nikki does maybe forget herself or, forget the fact that she told Shawn earlier, that she doesn't really want to go too far sexually, but she still hasn't crossed that line fully yet. So the fact that Shawn knows that Nikki doesn't want to cross the line, but is still trying to basically intellectualize her into the bed and into more sexual activity is wrong. So, yeah, I definitely feel like these two need to respect each other's boundaries, but at the same time, I think Nikki is slowly starting to maybe get a stronger attachment to Shawn, maybe subconsciously, and she's fighting it consciously. But at the end of the day, Shawn has to respect her boundaries and he can't gaslight her when he is definitely trying to get more out of her sexually, but playing these games by denying it. So, yeah, these two need. Now, the next big aspect of episode 10 was the kind of four-way fight between Nick and Courtney, and Courtney versus Devin, and then Devin versus Caitlyn. So let's start off with Nick and Courtney because basically the episode started and the drama started because it was Courtney's birthday. And the fact that it was Courtney's birthday makes me think of that old principle that my Caribbean parents taught me of time and place. You gotta understand time and place. Somebody's birthday and their birthday party where you're supposed to be celebrating them and having good vibes is not the place to try to confront the birthday person or press them on anything. The only thing you're supposed to be confronted about is if they had enough cake and if they opened their gifts. So Devin was wrong all the way for killing the vibe at Courtney's birthday. But then Courtney was wrong for asking Caitlyn to come and control Devin. And Caitlyn knew that Courtney was coming at Devin disrespectfully by even saying that. Somebody says to you, oh, come control your girl, come get your girl. You should, if you care anything about them, be uncomfortable, allowing that kind of rhetoric to take place because everybody has a mind of their own. Everybody is an adult. You need to, of course, ask questions, about why they're saying that if you don't know the whole story, because Caitlyn didn't know the whole story. But at the end of the day, it's clear that Courtney was disrespecting Devin by even saying that. So I do understand Devin's frustration with Caitlyn not having his back and even, just diffusing the situation and having Devin's back a little bit more. But at the end of the day, Caitlyn don't like Devin. And it's clear that she does not want to be around that man. But Devin, when he got back home, again, he didn't have time and place for the second time because it being that late and him acknowledging that he was drunk was not the time to try to solve that problem. And I do think that he was weaponizing therapy speak against Caitlyn at some point when he knew that she was telling him to be quiet and go away. And then he was like, I'm listening to you. I hear you. But it's like, yeah, she's not trying to hear you. So you throwing that in her face like that's kind of basically calling her out for not wanting to hear you and not listening to you. But at the end of the day, you were drunk and she clearly didn't want to talk to you. So don't keep talking to her. Like, as a woman, there is nothing scarier than a drunk person that is not listening to you or you're not sure what they're about to do. And these two are still, at the end of the day, they only know each other for about, 3 weeks now? Or it's 3 weeks till decision day. So at the end of the day, I think Devin was not wrong for wanting Caitlyn to have his back. And he's not wrong for wanting a wife to care for him and be there for him. But Caitlyn is not that. She's been showing Devin that she doesn't really see it for him and doesn't see herself as being that partner that's always going to be around and even want to be near him for too long. So Devin needs to cut his losses. And this drunken moment in the night where she's clearly trying to not talk to him was not the time for him to dig his heels in and try to confront her. And someone who does understand time and place is Nick, because he waited until the therapy session with the experts to bring up his feelings about how Courtney treated him like a stray dog down to the birthday party. And that's why he's all right with me. And Courtney was being performative with that cringy kiss that she gave him in front of the experts. So even though the experts and all the people is calling Mecca performative, the performative one to me is Courtney, right? So let's get to Mecca and Belle Jolie actually. Now speaking of being performative, even though the group and the experts was calling Mecca performative, he is actually being more real this episode and starting to realize that he's getting his own way when it comes to his relationship with Belle Jolie. So I really like them too this episode. And I like that the expert Paul apologized to him for making him feel a way about, suggesting that he was being performative in the way that he did. And it's important for us all to acknowledge our mistakes and be humble because it builds trust. And I'm sure Mecca and Belle Jolie are going to trust Paul more now that he has apologized. And at the end of the day, I definitely think that Mecca and Belle Jolie have what it takes to make it and have a happy marriage. I also think that Cameron and Michelle have what it takes, to have a happy marriage. You see Cameron running home to her, coming in an extra night earlier to be with her. These two didn't really have no drama. They're gonna make it. I think Marissa and Adam seemed like they were gonna make it at first, but Marissa is definitely starting to resent Adam, and it's kind of on her because she doesn't stand up for herself in the moment as much when he's, forcing her to play pickleball for hours and dragging her around in the back of the jet ski, and she's not saying anything. Now she's starting to speak up for herself, but it is with resentment and bitterness because she's like, when it's going to be my turn to do stuff? It's like, girl, you had to assert yourself. So if Marissa can, assert herself more and Adam respond well to it, then they can make it. But right now, the seeds of resentment and bitterness is definitely there, and it could affect decision day. And it could be a yes on Adam's end, but a no on Marissa. And because she might get her lick back for all the times she was dragged on that jet ski by saying no. And also Philippe and Tori, I don't think they're going to make it because Felipe needs to be returned to the streets. He clearly seems like he wants to cheat from, what he was saying at all these dinners. And Tori already started to see some things that she has some questions about, especially the religion thing. I think the experts were dead wrong for pairing her with somebody who's atheist, like religious beliefs, and the fact that Felipe is still for the streets. Those two things alone are a recipe for them both not being able to maintain their connection in the long run. So we shall see if they can work through it. But I think they both might say no on decision day. But let's see what happens in episodes 11 through 12. I did watch them, but I don't have time to review right now. So say how you felt about just episode 10 in the comments so we don't spoil it for people. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. And always know you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Bye.